Blue slime back to back, rowing 2 times. Quarter pound jello cake, smoked a few times. I be in when they see me, say that's you slime. Levels to the shit, finna touch a mill in due time. Ain't no sleep in this shit, that's a fine line. On my way to the mo, boys, grind time. Fed in, pushing lines on the 9-9. We ain't worried about a thing, we on God's time. Ghetto boy on the head, that's a Red Sox. 2 3s on the feet, no, it's dead stock. 1 2 ST, it's the West Pop. Melody of the keys make your head nod. Yeah, the beat going.
What up, everybody? Gonna let this rock out for a bit, but welcome back. For those watching us on YouTube, check us out on the chat line. For those listening to us through the Good News Radio app, welcome.
Check me out though. Hey. I can't smoke Reggie Bush, I need dope smoke. Dope flavors in my lungs, make a nigga choke.
Dope flavors.
Cherry pie got me extra high. I'll take a nigga bitch and won't even try. Keep it player, she look, then you know she took. That 40 up in his chest is like a notebook. I'm throwback, retro, real saucy with it. Even my kids got the drip, gotta stay fitted. I come with it, Mr. O with the new school. Big Benz, I just made 1,000 off these Pro Tools. Big B on my face, ain't no suit. Trying to cop a foreign, do the dead shit in the new cool.
All right. Welcome back to another episode of Said Connects. This is Danny, your host, and we're live from the TGN Latinx station. I'm here with your host, B as well. B, I'm excited to have you. Welcome back, B.
Good to be back. Definitely good to be back, man.
Got a little theme song for you, B. We needed you this whole time. We missed you.
I know.
So we got a little song. Gotta get you back.
Yeah.
Now, but B, how was it? How was your trip, B?
It was good. It was good to see family.
Yeah.
I realized that I hadn't been back in 12 years.
And remind everybody, where were you?
El Salvador.
In El Salvador. And you haven't been back 12 years.
12 years, man. I saw babies there are not babies anymore.
They're like grown-ass adults now.
Grown-ass adults. It was good. I want to say thank you to Julia, though.
Yeah?
She held it.
You want to say thank you to Julia?
Yeah, thank you, Julia. You know, she was here with you.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was a good time with her here.
Yeah.
We definitely had a good time. And but I'm glad you're back. You had a bunch of pupusas. Did you bring back any pupusas?
No, man.
That's fucked up, baby. Did you at least have some for me?
I did have some.
At
not
least
cheese.
every day?
Not cheese, though. You know.
Did you have the rice ones?
I did have the rice ones.
Good.
The only way to do it over there.
Yeah, it is really the only way to do it. But we're gonna go and kick this in. We got a few sponsors, but this is Said Connects, Cannabis Entrepreneurial Dialogues. Our mission is to create spaces for people and brands of color to share their stories, educate and empower our communities. We got to thank some of our sponsors today. We have Smoke Apparel. Smoke Apparel is a cannabis lifestyle brand that advocates for social equity brands for people of color. They have some amazing gear out there. You can go ahead and check them out at smokeapparel.com. That's SHMOKE apparel.com. And they actually have they have a good deal right now where if you purchase one of their hoodies, they'll go ahead and throw in a free eighth in that order. So they got some bomb ass flower right now that they have. Check out their catalog. And again, you can find them at SHMOKE apparel.com. Also look them up on IG as well. You'll see all the gear that they have. They have bomber jackets, they have hoodies, they have shirts, hats, shorts, you name it, they got it. Hit them up. Make sure to let them know that's Said Connect said you. And shout out to you, Smoke. You got a big game coming up. Big Chiefs fan over there, so I know that he's excited and getting ready to watch this game. So I'm excited for him. And then we have a new sponsor that we got to shout out, and that is the parent company. The parent company, they have a bunch of different brands from Kaliva to Fun Uncle, and to plenty others. They have shops everywhere, and what the sponsorship that we have with them is they're gonna give all of our listeners and all of our viewers a discount whenever you order from them. So if you go ahead and you log on to Caliva.com, the CALIVA.com, and you enter promo code said connects 30, you'll receive 30% off your order, and you'll also get free delivery on that order as well. So that's a good chunk of change that's taken out of your order, just even with that delivery fee. So go ahead and check them out. Join, log on to their website, download their app at Kaliva Club, and make sure to order some products. Use promo code said connects 30 to get 30% off and free delivery on your next order. Thank you, parent company, for the sponsorship. We look forward to working with you guys throughout the month. And and yeah, so have you ordered any food lately? Any food? Any cannabis B
No,
lately? That's
not
since
at
you've been
all.
back.
Not since I've been back.
Okay, I
I've
love
been.
delivery services.
I know.
Just you know, it's the best. I don't have to step out of the house and just chill. We got our guests. We got Steven. We got Alex in the house. Have you guys ordered any cannabis products online?
Not yet. Nope, not yet.
Okay. All right.
Been
We're
going
gonna
to
have
the
to.
store.
What's that?
Been going to the store.
Been going to the
pretty much,
store?
yeah.
All right. Cool. Cool. Well, as we mentioned, we got Alex and we got Steven in the house, and they're from Dope Flavors. Let's give them a round of applause for being here.
What's up? What's happening?
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Thank you very much.
No, man, I'm
Appreciate it.
excited to have you guys. I know that you guys traveled some ways to be here. You guys came from the Bay, and so I'm excited to have you guys here. I want to start off by asking you guys, talk to me about your upbringing, man. Where where are you from? Where did you grow up? And what was the message behind cannabis in your household?
Um, I'm from a small town in the Bay Area called Pittsburgh, California, without the H at the end. And it's a small town. It's a town kind of sprouted up after World War II because Camp Stoneman. So there was a military camp there, and then that's I'm like third generation Hispanic from Pittsburgh. So one high school over there, like one or two middle schools. So it's a really small town. And I actually grew up with this guy right here over there, Pittsburgh, California. And, cannabis was always taboo, especially, a lot of Hispanics, raising up Catholic over there.
Is
But
that what the population is in Pittsburgh?
majority now is Hispanic, like
Okay.
Latino. And
It's a good mix, though.
Good
yeah.
mix.
Get
Good
everybody
mix.
over there.
But when you say small town, like, is it like one of those secluded towns that, like, that it's like in the middle of nowhere, or is there some cities that are like nearby?
yeah, surrounding cities like Concord and Antioch, those are
Okay.
definitely bigger cities. But yeah, we're like right in the middle.
Okay. All right.
And then over there, yeah, it's the cannabis culture is big over there for sure. But like, growing up over there, it was more taboo. Parents didn't really like it, but was definitely still smoking pot back then.
Yeah. And what was that message like from your family? Like, what, like, were they very against it? Were your family like, were they smoking and they just didn't tell you guys?
I
What was that
guess,
about?
like for me at least, it was more like, oh, don't do it until maybe you're older. Experiment with it when you're older. But they did it back then. It
Yeah.
was still, they lived through the '60s. They lived through going into the.
I'm gonna need to
70s.
get you close to that mic, my man.
And yeah, so it wasn't really too strict for me, especially going into high school. It was like, there ain't no stopping it.
Okay. All right. You want to share, Alex?
Yeah, I mean, when I first got caught high, my mom was just heartbroken. My older brother used to get in trouble, and she would just think I'm gonna just go do the same shit, basically. But
Okay.
just when they got to the point where they knew they weren't gonna stop us, you feel me? It was cool. My parents just didn't want us in the streets. When we were drinking stuff, we would just be at my house mostly and
Okay.
out the way, pretty much.
Nice.
So it was cool. Yeah, my parents didn't really trip too hard.
All right.
Back
Okay.
when it was big as a gateway drug,
Yeah.
Yeah.
early 2000s, late 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
For
really-
sure.
It was really normal. Like everybody was smoking. If you're doing anything else, you're kind of looked at like a little weirdo.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the tree, it was just the norm.
Absolutely. And we've gotten that a lot from folks that are up in the Bay. That it is kind of a little more normal. It feels like it's a little more normalized.
Yeah.
But and shout out to you guys for being here. Steven, I see you're the CEO of Dope Flavors. I see you're a project coordinator for the Alliance of Higher Education in Prison, co-founder of Moon of Abundance, Oaksterdam University alumni. Did I miss anything in that resume there?
I'm a San Francisco State class of 2020 Project Rebound student. I'm a justice impacted student. So I did about a 6-year prison term. And then just pretty much when I paroled out of prison, that's when I just continued my college education. Didn't want to go back. So
Yeah.
even though parole was definitely trying to take me back, just working and going to school full time, staying out the way, advocating for formerly incarcerated students or current incarcerated students. And that advocacy kind of just, fell onto also cannabis equity advocacy,
Right.
especially since I paroled in 2016, and that's when it went rec out here in California. So,
And we'll definitely get into that right
Mhm.
now. We'll get into all that. And but in that moment, in that conversation,
Mhm.
you know, this goes toward first thing that I thought of was the preschool to prison pipeline.
Mhm.
And for the listeners that don't know what the prison and preschool pipeline is a process in which students are pushed out of school throughout school, through school suspensions, out of school suspensions, overly harsh discipline in the into the prison systems. The factor is like zero tolerance policies within school disturbance laws, increase in school police support, um, and it targets people of color, and then there's an emphasis on males within this systematic approach of raising people within this this policy, this program, ideology in a sense. And then it also goes hand in hand, like you kind of touched on with cannabis, and the equity thing and the cannabis imprisonments that's happened throughout the years. Folks getting put into prison because they're either growing, they're selling, whatever the case is. And now that it's become legalized, as you mentioned in 2016, um, there's still people still locked up in there. There's still folks that have been, kind of like shut into the system, and it feels like they were locked in, and kind of thrown away the key. And so to see programs like the program that you work for, where they're now bringing up another opportunity with education, higher education in the prison system. Talk to me about how you got involved with that organization.
I was volunteering my time with Project Rebound at first over there at San Francisco State campus, and then upon graduating, I graduated in the middle of COVID, so they were shutting down all the campuses, they were shutting down jobs. So I didn't really know what I was going to do, so I turned to being an entrepreneur, starting an online business, Moon of Abundance, starting Dough Flavors, the brand, while I was advocating for cannabis equity in Contra Costa County. And but I eventually found a remote job that worked out good for me and my family through the Alliance of Higher Education in Prison. And what that does is pretty much they put on like a national. They're known for a national conference. They're known for an annual report where they're like a centralized hub for other nonprofits and organizations that are doing higher education and prison work for incarcerated students. So this was pretty much, this is where I came from. So I could really use my experience and I could really use my connections to, be a good asset to the company, and produce some good work, especially with I was directly involved in the planning of a national conference that just happened in November in Denver, and over 400 people attended from different organizations and nonprofits throughout the country that do the same type of work in the field. And I've always had a passion for this type of work, especially securing my freedom, securing my parole and my release, and really just having people learn from me and my mistakes and my triumphs as well. And whether it was through Project Rebound and now for the Alliance for Higher Education in Prison.
Oh man. And so what when I used to do a lot of social work as well, and before coming into the cannabis industry, I was doing a lot of. I worked in the preschools.
Mhm.
I worked in the Head Starts, and I was creating um, conferences and creating workshops, and specifically for men. I work on with programs for men and their children, and one of the things that one of the programs that would always reach out to us were programs that were focused on men that are incarcerated and how can they connect the the men and their children
Mhm.
while being incarcerated, and how can we continue to build relationships with their children and continue to just have those avenues. Is there similar programs to with that within the program that you're working with?
Yeah, especially with keeping that communication between family members. It's very important for like, mental health, especially when you're taking in prison programs, you need a support system. I mean, it's some people do have their family, some people don't, but if you do, that's just more of an advantage for somebody that's inside, a student that's inside that would, have a better likelihood of sticking with the program, being successful with the program, continuing on after parole, following up with school or with their family, and also maybe another job.
Yeah. And what are some of those challenges that you face, like as a day to day when you start working with folks that are in the program?
For me was access because I was on parole, I was on term, so I couldn't go into a facility. So I would really just be working kind of like on the back end.
Yeah.
Now I work with other organizations that can do work on the back end, like what I'm doing, and also work with the field,
Yeah.
going into facilities, going into juvenile, adult, women's facilities, and things like that.
And
Or
how has COVID affected this?
COVID has greatly affected this just because they've been locking everything down. So now that hinders um, workers in the field going into facilities.
Okay. And what are some of the steps that maybe you'd like to see change to be able to continue helping the folks that are incarcerated
Mhm.
that are like getting ready to be out on parole, and like what are some of those steps that you'd like to see change?
Really, it's the technology. I know a lot of them, especially when they can't, get teachers or tutors like directly, in front of them in class. Luckily, everything is done through Zoom, and really just getting them like tablets. A lot of facilities is trying to incorporate tablets, more computers in there, and they need access to these tools as
Sure.
well, just like regular college setting students out here.
Okay. That's dope. All right. Um Talk to me about that moon of abundance. I know you touched on like a lot of entrepreneurship and getting into that.
Mhm.
Like what sparked the idea of starting that organization or that business?
Yeah. Moon of Abundance is a crystal healing like online store that I started with my girl right when COVID hit. Everybody was getting laid off. I just graduated, not sure if I'm going to find a job or hop
Yeah.
back into the workforce. So we just, got our entrepreneurship on, and it was really her idea. She's really into it. I learned a lot from her. I kind of knew about crystals and like different spirituality and their ways of healing, especially in native cultures. Um, and she just kind of enlightened me on a whole bunch of different stuff. And I'm like, well, let's start an online store. We got to do something,
Yeah.
better than just watching the news all day and kind of dreading our situations and our circumstances right
Do,
now.
do you tie any of that into, your cannabis usage?
For sure. I know she knows more in that aspect,
Yeah.
but just burning cannabis, just burning the flower and respecting the plant from all processes, from cultivating it to from harvesting flower to extracting it. I've read a couple books on how our ancestors respected this plant, how other natives to America have used cannabis for healing, and those are actually some things that I've learned from Amsterdam as well. And we for sure tried to tie in the educational part in the healing part of our on our online store. So I pretty much wrote like blogs educating somebody on this particular herb or this particular stone,
That's
what
dope.
it's good for and what it's been used for in the past.
I like that because
Yeah.
I just started getting into stones. I just got mine. I carry mine all the time.
Yeah.
I call them my infinity stones.
Nice,
Uh,
nice.
because man, they work wonders for me, and I carry them with me everywhere I go. I have this. Um, I can't even think what it's called right now, but all I know is that it's it's to help with toxic energies, and since it
Mhm.
has the little arrowhead stone to it, that's what it's for. And then I have my little love quartz to keep
Yep.
that love energy and stuff. So I
Good
always keep this
balance.
around with me, especially just to keep that love going in my household.
For sure, for sure.
That's
They
right.
all got different properties, and what's cool about them is that when I get them imported into the country, they're considered live specimens. So all their spiritual healing, properties is surrounded by is involves energy, and I truly believe as far as like energy transfers and positive is contagious as well as negative energy is contagious, and I feel like the stones, they're considered live specimens, so they got to have something to do with that energy flow and what their properties bring out.
Yeah, I just since I just came back from El Salvador, I went to one of the small towns, and it's like when it comes to stones and like their spirituality, it's a huge thing, like huge. It's part of their daily life, part of their healing, part of like their spirituality. It just goes hand in hand, So when I saw that, I was like, oh, that's dope, man.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah,
It's all about educating new people on this.
yeah,
This has been around for thousands of years,
Sure.
and learning back from our ancestors and just providing that education to our peers, our family, random people. I think I I think that's dope.
yeah. I think that's something we talk about, often here on set that it's more than just a plan, it's more than just sitting down and getting high. And now that's great, of course, but there's so much tied into it in our culture, and trying to take that back, trying to tie it with our roots again, and then realizing that it's more than just what it mainstream has made it to be.
That Yeah, for sure. And so you touched on Oxerdam, and you touched on um learning about the plant. How was your time at Oxerdam?
It was great. I ended up getting a scholarship through the Success Center in San Francisco. I met a friend of mine, Angela White, and she was just educating anybody that wanted to come and learn about social equity in cannabis. Just open door. Just sign this right here that you attended, and then through that, I was able to get the free scholarship. I went over there for the basic and the advanced business part of the
And,
curriculum.
and for our listeners, explain to our listeners, what is Oxerdam? What's the mission behind Oxerdam? Where can we find out more information about that?
Oxerdam is pretty much like the first cannabis type of college. They have they have a lot of different curriculums. Whether you want to learn how to grow indoor, outdoor, you want to learn how to fundraise, you want to learn how to advocate, you want to learn how to actually learn the operations and about the intellectual property part, like the basic and advanced business classes. They have different curriculums for whatever part of cannabis in the industry or what you want to learn about. And yeah, I ended up getting a free scholarship for the business aspect.
Nice. And so, how long is that the classes for? I saw that 2019. Is that when you finished? Is that when you entered?
Yeah, I what they offer usually I believe is like maybe like a month or two. So you're going for about 8 weeks or so. But with this scholarship, it was an expedient route. So it
Okay,
was like a crash course. Like so you have to dedicate a whole weekend, full 8-hour days, and then you just have professors just coming to knock out the different parts of the curriculum. And that's what I ended up doing since time, you pay full price and you get the full time with 2 months, let's say.
gotcha.
But this was really an advantage just because it was a crash course. I was able to get certified, get my diploma with Oxerdam, and really just have like a hands-on approach with the different professors, everybody that was trying to learn about equity through the Success Center, San Francisco.
All right, and so you bringing up equity. Are you have you gone through the process of being an equity verified individual, and explain that process to us?
Well, the process, because right now we're just a brand and we're a brand under Seventh Wave LLC, which is based in Humboldt, and they're equity certified. So coming from where we're coming from and us pushing cannabis equity in our neck of the woods, I mean, as soon as we can go for a license, we're going to for sure try to get a equity certified license and go that route. But us partnering with Seventh Wave, us being a brand, persons of color, yeah, we are Cannabis Equity.
Dope. And so
Proud.
so then that transitions us to dope flavors,
Mhm.
right? And talk to us about the creation of dope flavors. How did that come about? And and shout out to Seventh Wave, shout out to the team, Timo and Elisa. Um, we work together all the time. They're one of our equity sponsors as well.
Mhm.
But talk to us about dope flavors, and then we'll transition into to all of that.
Yeah, big shout out to Seventh Wave for taking a chance on us and really just embracing us into their business, into their legacy business in cannabis. But Dope Flavors came from advocacy. It was just me trying to just, talk to people on, city council members, mayors, city attorneys, like, hey, Pittsburgh needs cannabis equity. Antioch needs cannabis equity. Contra Costa needs equity, especially going into the cannabis industry. Um, and then from there, just really learning about brands. And then that's how Dope Flavors came up through our advocacy, going to Amsterdam, learning about business, learning about branding yourself, especially in the cannabis business where it's very competitive,
Yeah,
very saturated.
absolutely.
So the brand is what's gonna be here at the end of the day, and later on, 100 years from now, who
So,
knows?
so how long has the brand been in existence?
Since 2019.
Since 2019.
Mhm.
Okay, cool. Because I mean, looking at like the marketing and looking at all the work that's being put into it, it feels like you guys are like everywhere with the marketing strategy that you guys have. And it's like you guys have a team of 1 million folks. How many folks do you really have on your team, and how are you making this strategy work out for yourselves?
There's really a couple handful of people on this team, and they're all over the state. But it's really on real just being loyal and just being good to our supporters, to our family and friends that support us, because we're working double time, especially when it comes to social media, just from getting shadow banned and IG and online, really just monitoring and really just censoring a lot of our content. And we try to keep within those community guidelines, but really we got to be out in the streets, we got to be out in the trenches, because we're already suppressed online. So really just coming out and showing out, and then showing love and support to wherever we go.
So man, and then it shows because like you fucking you flew all the way down to LA
Oh yeah, most
from the
definitely.
Bay to be here, man. And we
Yeah.
really appreciate all that effort that you're putting in
Definitely.
For sure.
for the brand, and it shows all the work that you guys you're putting. It's there. You're definitely about it, and I appreciate that
Thank you.
from that, man. We're gonna do a quick little game with you, boss. We're gonna do what's called flash questions. Would you rather? Be quick answers here. First question that I got for you is: would you hit the pause button in life or a rewind button in your life?
Oh wow. Just off the top of my head, just being from the hip, um, I there's a bunch of things I've done in life that I've learned from, and I wouldn't want to go back, no matter how bad they were or whatever the type of negative situations or circumstances arose from it. So I guess I'd take a pause, because everybody needs a pause, especially when it's hectic in life. Hopefully that pause is somewhere on a exotic island, and
Yeah.
but as far as going back and trying to change stuff, I don't know. I'm into learning lessons and building on top of that.
All right. All right. Would you rather go back in time to visit your ancestors or go into the future and visit your great grandchildren?
I'd probably go back and ask my ancestors a whole bunch of questions. I just think, man, 10,000 years back or something along those lines, it's like you could really learn a lot from them. And we really don't know all that the potential they had back then,
Yeah.
or what they knew. So much has been deleted or suppressed throughout time, especially in our current time. I'd go back and holler at my ancestors.
All right. Would you rather go for the rest of your life without internet or without AC and heating?
Oh man, I think the internet is a very, very powerful tool that helps a lot of people out nowadays, especially when it comes to information. Us knowing information. So I'd probably just go without heating and AC.
Alright.
I'd make that work and
You'll
rough
make-
it.
you-
but
you-
I
you'll
got
work it
my
out.
got my internet though.
You'll work it out. All right.
A tool I use every day. What about you?
Same, bro.
question.
Get a
Same thing?
blanket, get a fan.
There you
You
go.
know,
And just work that shit out. Sweat it out.
yeah.
Yes, sir.
Can't have no internet.
What about you, Alex, man? What would you do, man? If would you have to hit that pause button or rewind button in your life?
Yeah, I take a pause.
Take a
Can't-
pause.
Can't focus on trying to go back. You know, just make yourself go crazy trying to think about stuff like that. I think.
All right.
Yeah, just
All
take
right.
a pause.
Would you guys rather smoke, take an edible, or hit the concentrates?
Smoke.
Smoke flower?
Lately, I've been dabbing.
Yeah.
I was just a flower connoisseur for the longest, but now that going messing with Seventh Wave got me dabbing.
Ooh, oh, that's true. I know.
Seventh Wave got me dabbing.
I've been hearing a lot about them, and with Timo's always with this puff coat.
Yep, exactly. Conveniency works.
It's
Yeah, so
different. though.
I've been dabbing.
Yeah.
I've been dabbing a lot more lately.
Okay. All right. Last question that I got for you guys. What is your go-to munchie when you're feeling it? What's that go-to munchie menu?
It's either fresh fruit in the fridge or cereal.
Fresh fruit or cereal?
Yep.
All right. What about you, Alex? What you got?
Jeez, let's go with some chicken salad from Trader Joe's, bro.
Chicken salad from Trader Joe's. Man, I was expecting something crazy from both of y'all.
You pinpoint that one too.
Yeah.
Or shout out to Fat Sal's. You feel
Fat
me?
Sal's. I've heard about Fat Sal's. All right.
Check them out.
What about you, B? What's your go-to munchie? Because
Um,
mine is I'll do cereal, or I'll grab cookies. Cookies with some milk. That's my go-to for sure. Or you know what? I'm lying. Or I'll have some chips with some cream cheese dip, and B's looking at me like,
Damn.
what the fuck? Because I'm
Hey,
lactose
cheese.
intolerant,
Yeah, I
uh-huh.
feel you.
and but I don't. That doesn't stop me.
Nope.
Doesn't stop me at all. I live my
Uh-uh.
life.
That's right. That's for the fullest.
Yeah, I don't risk that. I'm lactose intolerant too, and I don't risk it at all. But mine is chips and salsa.
Chips and
Man, I can't.
salsa.
Yeah, you put that on the table, and uh, it's like I'll finish a whole bottle of salsa, man.
You know what's good too? Putting cream cheese over and then salsa over it.
Ceviche.
We had that
Oh,
ceviche
ceviche.
last night for the Niner
Okay.
game.
Oh,
Nice. Just talking
Yeah.
about the Niners. Oh man, Niners.
Shout out Niners.
Woo! We're going to that
We
championship
going,
game.
We going.
We're going to that championship game, and it's looking like we're gonna meet with the Rams, because the Rams currently right now 27-13 with 3 minutes left. So it doesn't look like Brady pulled that out.
Game gone.
Hey,
So
good for them. man.
we're gonna have Frisco here in LA next week.
Cool.
They might as well just pull up, because they're gonna stay here for the next few weeks
Might as
sure.
well.
with the Super Bowl here in
Yeah.
LA too. But what are your thoughts on that game?
Man, that was
Crazy. Where would we be without the D? Feel me? Our defense.
for real. Special teams. Hit it
Man,
on that one. Defense on special teams. Everything went down to the wire, down to the last field goal at the end of the
Yeah.
game.
bro.
Got one touchdown in the first quarter and then didn't see nothing for 3 quarters after that.
Yeah, the defense stepped it up, man, and
Yeah.
For sure.
I'm a huge Niner fan. Like, I'm like the biggest Niner fan ever, and I have so many superstitions and so many weird ass shit that I have. And he's laughing because she
Let's hear
already
it.
knows, man.
What are they?
So, and I'm gonna explain it all for everyone. So, Buffalo Wild Wings. Buffalo Wild Wings is a part of this, because that first run a few years ago with Kaepernick, and they made that run into the Super Bowl. We would watch games, and this was me and my two younger brothers, who would go to Buffalo Wild Wings, and we go to Buffalo Wild Wings that year. And we tried to make it to every game that year, and every time we went to Buffalo Wild Wings, they won. We went maybe, I think, 3 times that we didn't go, and those 3 times they lost that season. So they had a 13-3 season that year. And so playoff time, we went, they won, and we had just bought this 50-inch TV, a 55-inch TV at the time. And we were like, we bought that TV knowing we're gonna host a Super Bowl party because with this big ass TV. And we made it to the fucking Super Bowl, and we were like, fuck, what do we do? Because we've been going to Buffalo Wild Wings. Time we didn't go, we lost.
Uh-oh.
Time we did go, they won. And so we decided, you know what? We're gonna bring Buffalo Wild Wings to the house. So we ordered Buffalo Wild Wings. We got my brother worked there too. So he brought us napkins, he brought us the table mats, and we tried to replicate Buffalo Wild Wings at the house, but that was the year that they lost to the Ravens.
Yeah.
Boom. So then it was bullshit. But all right, so then my brother moves to Miami. And that first year that he moved to Miami, Niners went to the Super Bowl. But we weren't doing the Buffalo Wild Wings thing, and we know what happened. They lost to the Chiefs, right?
Mhm.
Now my brother moved back to LA this year. And now the first year back, they're on their way to what looks like a Super Bowl run. And so we've been going to Buffalo Wild Wings this entire time this year. And we went to Buffalo Wild Wings last week. And I had to show up after halftime, so I left with 6 minutes left in the second quarter, so I can get there right at halftime last week, and we ended up winning the game last week against the Cowboys, right?
Mhm.
So then this week it was like, we gotta do the same shit. So
All the way to the Super Bowl.
I left at 6 minutes of the second quarter last night, got to Buffalo Wild Wings at halftime. And I told you about that too. So I was like,
Mhm.
if you want to go, I'm gonna be there after halftime. There was a reason to that madness.
For sure.
It was because of my superstitions and shit. And sure enough, fucking won the game last night.
Don't quit.
So next week, I'm doing the same thing. I'm leaving in the 6 minute of the second quarter to get to Buffalo Wild Wings to win next week against what looks like it's gonna be the Rams. But then the Super Bowl, when we had the Chiefs game for the Super Bowl, I was so excited. I hosted the Super Bowl party. B was there, and B saw the excitement, and then B saw the demise
Mhm.
of my emotions. So B saw firsthand. But this year we're not taking any chances. We're gonna be at Buffalo Wild Wings every day. So Niner fans, I'm gonna do my part, and I'll be at Buffalo Wild Wings to make sure that this shit wins because I blame it on myself. I blame it on us for not being at Buffalo Wild Wings.
We appreciate you going.
Yes.
We appreciate you going.
Yes, that there's like no other explanation other than that.
Can't break the chain.
And if you guys had a superstition involved, it doesn't matter because it was on us. We fucked it up. You guys did everything you had to do. We fucked it up.
Stay strong.
we fucked it up, man. I'm sorry. So talk to us about dope flavors, man, and what's to come within the cannabis the legal market.
With the legal market, we're actually gonna have a couple SKUs of flour. We're gonna have a couple SKUs of pre-rolls, have a hash and hash infused pre-rolls and diamond infused pre-rolls. And then we're also gonna be hitting the concentrate market with live resin and live resin diamonds. So we're gonna have a couple SKUs of each hitting the shelves next month, hopefully around the end of February. That's our
Okay.
goal.
Nice. And I remember listening to another episode that you guys were on with No Invite Podcast, right? Shout out
Yes,
to
sir.
them. And you did mention that you were looking to make a drop in February. How's that challenge been for you? Have you been making those connections with shops already? And what does that look like? Do you have like an idea of what shops are going to be picking you guys up, and where can folks start finding dope flavors in February?
Yeah, we're hoping to drop, statewide, but definitely our presence is going to be in the Bay Area. We have a few different shops in Contra Costa County, also in San Francisco and Oakland that we have in mind. Also down here in LA. Really, I'm looking at Stizzy's been showing a lot of love to equity, so
Yeah.
we definitely want to inquire with Stizzy. Big fan of Stizzy as well. Also, shout out Backpack Boys, working out, getting our SKUs and Backpack Boys down here,
Yeah.
Hollywood, San Diego, Long Beach. Um, and yeah, really just get it out to the people. Is really just, being, having a good selection, knowing that there is a lot of time and consideration as far as with the quality of the products as well. We've been working with Timo since the fall, so you could see how long the back end process has been as far as with finalizing designs and concepts, with flour and concentrate, also with all the marketing and the promo, going on as well at the same time. And just like I said, really just showing up places, setting up uh, merch booths, or really just like demonstration, and really just getting out, to our family and friends out there and show them, good quality product, and then where they can actually get it from.
Nice. And how are you gonna like what's being that it's so we touched on it being saturated, and it's already hard enough to try to get new brands on shelves, right? There's been brands that's been there since 4 or 5 years since
Mhm.
these shops are have been open. What separates you guys from the other brands that our listeners should know about to go ahead and pick up your brand?
We're equity certified. This we come from the trenches. We come from marijuana prohibition. That's kind of like a little calling card with the dope flavors. It kind of replicates the skull and crossbones. Like we come deriving from the traditional market, from the black market. Back when we were demonized and criminalized on something that we were just entrepreneurs at the head of our time. So, bringing that sort of flavor and bringing that sort of culture with our brand on top of, really just, staying local, staying mom and pop, dealing with specifically equity supply chains, really just bringing forth a brand and a product that, people could really enjoy and be happy to return to is our main goal, our main focus, as well as with advocacy and making aware of what advocacy is for cannabis social equity, really just pushing that movement and that cause as well.
So as a brand, um you guys are all doing this by yourselves. You have no investments, you have no big time investors. This is something coming out of you and your team. So this is what it sounds like.
Super organic, grassroots from the bottom up, just networking, just working, just advocating, making good alliances and making good relationships with the right people, because, this industry has nefarious intended intended people in it as well, predatory offers. You can only hear the stories.
Have you come
Yeah.
across any of those predatory offers or investors?
I mean, there those avenues and those alleys have presented themselves, but
Sure.
at the end of the day, our brand is, what we stand on. And we want to we could be patient. We want to deal with the right people. We want to deal with the right groups. We represent the Bay Area Latino Cannabis Alliance, and we felt like their movement and their cause was pretty much, this is what we're aligned to.
Shout out to Balika
Yeah,
too,
shout
man.
out to Balka. And you know what? And just from, their atmosphere and the way that they conduct their organization is really just, for the people, and really just trying to include instead of exclude, and manipulate, or really just exploit, especially since our people have been exploited in this industry for so long. It takes people like ourselves to step up and really just, lead by example, share, and really just take, especially for the people coming in behind us, under our wing,
Yeah.
really just show them the right way, since this is new. I mean, just California going rec in 2016, this industry is far from perfect. So as long as, we can get it down, and, through trial and error, we'd be able to leave behind, or, leave people with some game. So, they don't make the same mistakes.
Yeah. And speaking on that, and speaking on leaving people with game and all that, that leads me to my next question related to being a can parent.
Hmm.
What's that like for you, man? And what I'm always interested in listening to other parents that are in the cannabis industry, and their approach, whether they're taking on that approach now, or how they plan on taking that approach with their children. What does that look like for you in your household?
Right now, my household is, as far as consuming, definitely separating myself
Sure.
from my 4-year-old.
So you have a 4-year-old.
Yeah, I
Okay.
have a 4-year-old son, and I know it's going to be part of his life. I don't know what his choices are going to be in the future, but I'm going to be open-minded, way more open-minded than my upbringing in
Sure.
cannabis. So, just it's just going to be full of trust, and I'm going to be discreet and respectful for his development, especially right now. So that's
Yeah.
pretty much like that's how cannabis is in the household right now.
Okay. And talking about it, like what talking about maybe even business. I know that's big, right? That's
Mhm.
big on your behalf. I've heard a lot of listening to a few episodes that you've been on. You're big about learning and teaching entrepreneurship and um to everyone and anyone. Like, is that also something that's going to be down the pipeline with your children and with others out there? Because I think on one of the episodes that you were on with No Invite, you were talking about taxes and being on top of all these different things to run a legit business. What does that mean to you, and how do you plan on elevating the communities with all that information?
Whether it's elevating the community, my son, somebody that I know from my neighborhood or from where I'm at and just wants to learn. I'm gonna relay that game. Like saying taking my son for an example, it's going to be around him. I want to provide those opportunities and advantages to him, and keep my brand legacy. Keep this going from generation on generation, whether he wants to go on the sales side, whether he wants to cultivate, whether he wants to be a cannabis influencer, or if he just wants to go to school and become a doctor.
Yeah.
So just being aware and having the education there, will definitely could really pass a positive message on to the next generation.
Yeah, that's dope, man, and that's important because I have two little ones as well. I have a 12-year-old and a 2-year-old. Yeah, 12 and 2, gonna be 13 and 3 in the next few months. And I don't know, I can't remember who I was talking to about this, but we were talking about technology and cell phones
Mhm.
and addiction to that with children. And one of the unique experiences that was brought up was um, being a parent that's always on the phone.
Mm.
And I chimed in and was like, well, I'm constantly on the phone because I'm working out deals or I'm working on, like, you know, talking business with other folks. And my child is also watching me, right? And listening and actively participating, including my 12-year-old, where I remember there was one time we were driving out from picking her up from school, and we were talking. I Someone called me about some flower showing that we were having and making those deals. And then after that conversation, she was like, "What were you talking about, Dad?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot you're in here." But this is what we were talking about. This is what we did. This is what I was explaining to her. Like, we were working out this deal.
Mhm.
We're talking about numbers. This is the price that we're receiving it at. And she was like, "But you said this number." I was like, "Exactly. I said that number because I still have to pay back this person and that person and that person." She was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot you got to pay people back for this and that." She was like, "So how much would this deal really work out?" And so explaining all those little steps here and there
Mhm.
was was eye opening for me to, like,
For
be like,
sure.
"Oh shit, like she's listening. This is a learning opportunity for her, so that if she does decide to be in any type of, like, business,
Mhm.
like, she's already learning the game, like, little by little." You know what I mean? and
Yeah.
and so having those steps and having those conversations with your children, like, moving forward, I think do some good things
For
on it.
sure. Very important. I
Yeah.
mean, whether it's, like how you said, it's like you could apply that to multiple different things.
Yeah.
Yeah. You never know what's going to be a lesson for them that they could appreciate. So, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely agree.
What about you, Alex? You got kids?
Nope.
Keep it that way, brother. Keep it that way.
No kids.
Keep it that way as long as you can, my
I got,
man.
I got cats.
Cats?
Yeah.
Oh, I
3.
can't do that
3
either.
cats.
I'm allergic to cats.
That sucks.
All right, man. So where can we find you guys online? I know you guys also got a lot of merch as well. You're looking to do pop-ups, which I spoke to some friends of mine out in the mission that got
Nice.
that has a restaurant. I want to say it's called El Castellito on like 16th and Mission,
Okay.
and they're ready to rock with you guys and have a little pop up for you guys. So
Appreciate that.
we'll definitely connect you. Shout out to them. Shout out to Monica, and her family. They just took over that business there, and so they're definitely looking to change the culture and change the scene with her restaurant.
Nice.
And so being able to bring in some business for both parties is definitely the mindset. So we'll definitely connect and get you guys there as well. Um, but where else can we find you guys?
Right now, we're just mainly on IG at underscore D underscore flavors, dope underscore flavors underscore. We also have the dope flavors LA, dope underscore flavors underscore LA. There's going to be an online store coming soon. So definitely look out for that. And then we post announcements all the time on IG, but we will definitely have online store. That's going to be for merch. Also we're looking into a pretty good rewards program as far as with, catching us at a pop-up. Scan a QR code and you get some rewards points and you'd be able to use that towards merch in the future online. Yeah, just be on the lookout for our announcements. We'll be at pop-ups. We'll be
Nice.
all whether Bay Area or Southern California.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Um, B, do you have any last words?
Yeah, man. Remember that as a consumer, like you go into the shops and you ask for these brands. Don't forget that if you want to try these out, if you want to find them in your local, um, in your local area, you gotta ask for them. You know,
Absolutely, especially here in LA.
yeah.
I know that in the Bay, there's policies put in place for equity brands to be on the shelves, and so that there's already that culture in the Bay for equity brands, but here in LA we don't have that. And as more and more equity shops are starting to open up, we're gonna start to see that wave change.
Mhm.
But all the existing shops that are already in LA, in San Diego, in all these other cities down south, there isn't that wave. So for all our listeners that are tuning in, and you guys are in these cities, make sure to ask for where are your equity brands?
For sure.
Where can I find equity brands? Why don't you have any? And if not, like let's make that push to
Mhm.
get more equity brands on the shelves here in LA County and in all the SoCal cities. To be because that's who we're helping. We're helping out small business owners. We're helping out brands like Dope Flavors. We're helping out brands like Seventh Wave and 4Gs, who are family owned. No big investors that are in, that are within their organization. It's a group of just folks that are trying to make generational wealth for their families. So, as a listener, as a consumer, um, a- you know, bring out social equity. Talk that up amongst the shops, because at the end of the day, these big brands, they're not helping. They're not, although they may be working, with other organizations. You know that with equity brands, you're definitely helping out the small shops. So
For sure.
definitely put that out there, as our listeners advocate for our social equity brands, support our equity brands, because they're the ones that are making the push for policy change throughout the state, and throughout every state, right?
Yeah.
So push them out, please. We appreciate those that do, and for those that haven't, I believe that you will too. I know you will.
Yeah.
I believe you.
That's the first thing I'm asking when I go into the store. That's why I like going to the store, just chopping it up with the bud tenders, seeing like, hey, where's your equity shelf? Where's it at? Let me see your equity brands. And one that I stumbled across from was from you with the fizz. the strawberry fizz soda. That was really good. So
It
shout
is
out
good,
to-
right?
Yeah.
It's delicious. It's
And
my
I
favorite.
don't like edibles like that, or especially drinks, because it's kind of hit or miss. But
Yeah.
I tried a fizz at the I believe at the Backpack Boys San Diego location. It was it.
Yeah.
I liked it.
I do. Yeah, man. I love this. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to Jesse. You're amazing, Jesse. But we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. We're here on a Sunday, but we normally record every Monday at 4:20. Shout out to TJ and Latinx station for having us. Shout out to the Good News Radio app. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Said Connects. Go ahead and follow us on Instagram at Said_Connects for all the latest news, for updated guests. Shout out to our social equity sponsors, Seventh Wave with 4Gs, Dope Flavors, Rated Gas, and they have other brands that are going to be coming down the pipeline soon. We also got Joyous 420 with Fuego 415 and the Fizz and Bianca Star Agency. I want to thank you guys, Steven and Alex, for being here,
Thank you.
and Dope
Appreciate it.
Flavors. Really appreciate you guys coming down all the way from San Francisco. Well, no, do you stay in Frisco now?
No, I was at school over there, but I stay in the East Bay.
So you
Still
stay in
around
the East Bay.
Pittsburgh. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So even further away from there, right? But shout out to you for coming all the way down to LA, man. We really appreciate you coming into the studio.
Thank you for having us, dude.
And with that being said, we'll see you guys next week on Monday at 4:20. We'll see you guys. Thank
Love and
you.
Respect. Thank you, guys.
Peace. Thank you.